Welcome to What You Need to Grow, the podcast where entrepreneurs discover the inspiration and perspective shifts that fuel both personal and business growth. Each week, certified professional coach Jennie Bellinger brings you powerful conversations with thought leaders, subject matter experts, and innovative company leaders who share their stories of growth and the tools that made it possible. From fresh insights that expand your vision to resources you can explore on your own journey, every episode is designed to help you grow your knowledge, grow your vision, and grow your business. Now, here's your host, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back to the What You Need to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Jennie Bellinger, and I have with me here one of my all-time favorite people who I not only get the chance to work with, but I've had the chance to be her client as well. And that's why I wanted to share her with you, because she helped me grow my business. And now I want to help you do the same if she's a fit for you. So this is my friend, Kimberly Weitkamp. And Kimberly Weitkamp is an amazing marketing coach, copywriter, and she has this amazing backstory, which we'll get into, I'm sure, at some point here. But Kimberly, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Jennie. You're one of my favorite clients, of course, because, you share your success stories. And also, I just love chatting all things marketing. And, it's always a great time to sit down and have a conversation with you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And, when you and I were catching up again, and I was giving you the heads up that I was launching this podcast, you were like, I think I want to be on that show. And I was like, I think you should be on this show, because the show is all about the intersection of personal growth and business growth, right? And how they feed into each other. And I know that you yourself have your own personal growth story that goes along with your business growth story. So how did you get into business, and how has personal growth been a part of your business growth?
That's such a great question. And, I usually talk about my 60-second origin story, but I think I'll go a little bit longer for this one because it's really all tied in together. So I was lucky enough to be in university all of a month when the Great Recession hit the global economy. So by the time I graduated, I had two choices. One was to move to Europe and become an English teacher, and the other was to become a manager of a video rental store. I chose option A.
I would have too.
Why. Because there were no jobs, right? Like, I could go deeper into debt. I could maybe try and go for a master's, maybe go for a doctorate. And I was like, yeah, but that's not a guarantee of work, and I didn't want to do it. Yeah. So I was like, okay, great. I'll move to Europe. I'll move to Spain. I'll be an English teacher, which, shocked everyone around me because they're like, you don't like kids. I was like, yeah, but I get to live in Europe. So, trade-off.
Right.
And I moved to Spain, and I was there for a couple of years. And, I was teaching, and I was doing fine, and it was a lot of fun. I was traveling everywhere. But, I don't like kids. So after a couple of years, I got fed up with being a teacher. And I got this email from my mom because I had no plans. I was like, I'm not renewing my contract, but I don't know what I'm doing next. And so I got an email from my mom, which was job opportunity, not spam. I was like, all right, I'm intrigued. Also, it's from mom, so of course I'm opening it. And that right there, first marketing lesson I ever got, which was no matter what the subject line it is, it doesn't matter. It's really about who sends the email. And that's kind of one of the pieces I teach people, is how to become that trusted source in your inbox. And what it was it was a video sales letter, actually. That was for a travel writing course. And I was so excited by the opportunity and the possibility. I bought the course, I finished it in a week, and I got published in 30 days. And I realized that travel writing doesn't pay very well. Basically, if there's something out there that other people are willing to do for free, very few people are willing to pay you for it. So I was like, travel writing, maybe not the option I thought it was going to be. But from there, I was introduced to the world of direct response copy. And if you are listening and don't know what direct response copy is, basically it is the art of writing the words that inspire your audience to take the action you want them to take, and that you can track. Right. Mm-hmm. So from there, I dived into it, never looked back. It's been 12 years and I'm still doing it to this day. So, that's kind of how my story got started. But it also tied into, as soon as I got into the direct response world, I also got into the world of personal development. Like, it wasn't a place I had even explored. I didn't really know much about it. I had never even contemplated it. And just being around a bunch of entrepreneurs who are all doing their own kind of cool thing, you realize all the opportunities you have to grow. So as I've grown my business, there's all kinds of lessons to be learned. Like I was that kid in school who didn't try but still got A's. So now it's like, well, you have to try and you have to come up with new and innovative ways, and you have to work on you, and you have to be invested in the outcome, because if you work for someone, you show up, you get your paycheck. If you work for yourself, you show up, and only if you get sales do you get your paycheck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of my origin story in a nutshell for you.
And it's so good because it does help bring out, how you ended up in the industry that you're in, which is marketing and helping entrepreneurs be able to um, get in front of the people that they need to get in front of in order to potentially get their next client, right? Because that's what
Mm,
marketing really is not marketing is not sales,
correct. Very
right?
important distinction.
Yes.
Marketing is not sales. You need training in both.
Yeah.
I'm marketing, Jennie is sales. Um, but it's true. People treat it as the same, right? Like it's the same tax category, I think. It's marketing and sales. It's one category. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Right, exactly. And marketing, the way I explain it to a lot of my clients, because as a sales coach, I tell them I'm like, you need marketing, and I can help with some of it, but I am not an expert in all of it. But marketing is really, to me, it's letting people know that you're in business. They've got to have an idea that you're out there. They need to know your business name and all of that fun stuff. So, digging into the marketing side of that, then what is it that you see entrepreneurs are missing out on the marketing side that is keeping them from being able to have the sales conversations and book the sales conversations that they need in order to grow their business?
That is such an excellent question. And there's so many ways to approach it. Number one, I'm going to say is people don't talk about what they do.
Mm,
And this was something that I actually struggled with when I first got started. Social media was brand new when I was first starting my business. Yes, I am that old. And it was interesting because I didn't want to be on camera. I didn't want my face out there. I was like, why can't I just build a business and do the thing that I do without like me being it, right? Like I wanted it to be all about the service.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, that's not what people want, right? Unless you're buying a pair of shoes. And even then, like there's other pieces to it, right? But if you're buying a service and you're buying a service professional and you're buying an outcome, the person who's helping you get there is really, really important. So you have to be a part of your marketing. So the number of people I talk to, the number of entrepreneurs I have conversations with who are like, yeah, I just want to outsource it all. I'm like, do you realize you're actually outsourcing your biggest money-making opportunity? Because it's you.
yeah,
You are your superpower. You are the reason why people are going to say yes as opposed to something else. And if you are lacking, if you are missing in your marketing, guess what? AI is here and it's not going anywhere. So there's plenty of people who are creating marketing without themselves in it. And we're already seeing that reverberate out through the industry. So people are starting to become smart to it, right? They're like, I think AI wrote this. Like, is there a person on the other end of this? I want to work with a person. Like, that is the conversation people are having in their heads. So you have to be in your marketing. And if you don't know what good marketing is, and if you don't know how to market, trying to sell it to the highest bidder is a great way to burn piles of cash and not
yeah.
get results from it. So you have to know what good looks like if you want to hire it out, but you also have to be willing and open to be involved in the process.
Yeah. The number of pieces that I see now out on social media, for example,
Hmm.
that I'm just like, there's no way so and so wrote that because I've been following them or friends with them or connected with them, depending on the platform, right? For years. And
Hmm.
they never wrote like that. And now all of a sudden, and of course the emojis and the M dashes give it all away.
Which is so unfortunate, right? Because M dashes and ellipses were like one of my favorite things to put into copy because they're great pauses. They're
Hmm.
great ways to like start conversation in people's heads, but now they're everywhere. And I'm like, gosh, I have to stop using this tool that is actually really powerful in copy because it's being used to excess.
Yeah. Oh, so are you even seeing ellipses? I haven't been seeing a lot of ellipses, but I see a
Not
lot of
not
emojis.
ellipses as much, which is good because ellipses were my go-to, and then M dashes. Like I was actually so proud the day I figured out how to make one on my keyboard, right? Because I kept like just doing the two dashes and they weren't connected.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, M dashes are everywhere, and I hate emojis.
Yeah.
I never used them. Like, you had to go look it up and like go find it somewhere and copy paste it for social because it's not on your keyboard natively.
Yeah.
So the fact that now there's emojis everywhere, I'm like, oh my gosh, stop it with the emojis. Like,
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah.
Like, I was annoyed when people were just doing it because they could. Now it's like everywhere.
Right. Exactly. And it's interesting if they're sprinkled in from time to time because I
Yeah.
mean I do personally sometimes put in one or two,
Hmm.
but I'm not putting in like 17 of them the way that I see
17
it
of them
done.
in a 40-word post.
Right.
Like, it's not even
Exactly.
that long.
And and so what that does is it does not actually make somebody stand out. It it actually amalgamates them as part of the same crowd, right? So in what I would say that I've learned from you, because as I mentioned to everybody at the beginning of this, is I've actually been your client, and you and I have worked together on many projects of mine over the years. Um, what I've learned is really to be myself in all of my copy. And for those of you who are newer entrepreneurs and you're like, what is copy? She's talking about copywriting and I don't know what that is. What is copyright? I'll let you, the expert, explain what copy is and then my
Yeah, so
interpretation.
I gave a short description earlier, and just to make it simple for you, anytime you're promoting your business, you're writing copy.
Yep.
Plain and simple. But copy falls into the category of direct response copy if you write words that encourage an action that you can track. So direct response copy was actually a newfangled thing in marketing where they would put out if you guys remember, you would have coupons, like actual paper coupons with
Yeah.
little codes, or they're like, call this number or what have you. And it was actually a different number for region and for time. So the codes would track which of the ads were being used.
Oh,
So that people could actually find out, oh, if we sent this version to 2,000 households, we got a 10% response rate. This version got a 2% response rate. So they actually tracked the codes. And now, of course, the internet and the wonders of technology make it easy for anyone to track what's working and what's not if you know what you're looking for. But basically, marketing, messaging, copy, all of them together are you sharing your message with the people who will become your clients and letting them know that you're open for business.
yeah, exactly. So it's things like, any verbiage that shows up on like your website, social media, newsletters that you may be writing. What else could I be missing here?
Videos you record, podcast interviews, summit interviews, gifts that you have. I mean, anything that you use to connect with your audience is essentially copy. It's essentially marketing. The only difference is most people don't think about it that way, and they actually only put time and effort into the one category, which is sales copy.
Yeah.
So that's I'm selling something from this page. That's the one I need to focus on, and the rest of the time they don't think about it. And the thing to remember is that anytime you are in a room talking about your business, whether it's a virtual room, an in-person room, or strictly on the internet, because going to your website is being in the room, people have to know what you do, they have to know who you serve, and they have to know what action step to take next. And essentially, that's what we're going to dive deeper into in the training.
Yeah.
But the other piece of it is if you don't have those pieces, then people ignore you and move on, right? Like, I think we
Right.
have an attention span of like 5 seconds nowadays
Yeah.
because social media is so fast moving and all of us are expecting, we expect everything immediately. So you have to show up as you, and you have to show up in a way that lets people know, hey, here's how I can help you.
Right, exactly. And so, some of the projects you and I have worked on for me have been my gifts, the variety of gifts that I offer through my Badass Direct Sales Mastery business with direct sales network marketers and those. Um, what those ended up creating for me were ways for people to come into my world who maybe weren't ready yet to directly coach with me.
Hmm.
Because they were, like you said, kind of exploring who I am and what do I know, and, can I help them, kind of thing. And so what that ended up doing for me, for my business, was creating this pool of people that I could start conversations with, because they were coming into my, through my guides, a guided meditation that I created. Oh my gosh, I had a video series that I did that I still have. It is still out there on my website as something for somebody to go do. If they want to learn how to, what was it? The no product puking
Product puking
pitch.
pitch. I remember this one because it's really hard to say.
Yeah, it's really hard to say, but it works.
Yes.
And so, that was always that still to this day is something that people occasionally find through my first podcast and go check out. And so I was able to go through and create those things that showed people who I am, what I know, and then they were willing to then take the next step, whatever that was, which really helped bring people closer in because, the thing about podcasting is it's this very anonymous thing for listeners. Nobody knows who they are until I can get them to step out of the shadows. And so offering these gifts that we created together really helped bring people to me. And so now it's something that even still to this day, I'm still coaching in the world of network marketing, and I'm still bringing people in. There are still people who come to my website, find my gifts and sign up for them almost daily.
And yeah, and one thing I really want to point out is it's been 4 years for some of those gifts, and they're
Hmm.
still working. So talk about putting your leads on autopilot, right? Like you do nothing, they're there. You
Yeah.
did it once, and you're constantly getting new leads, as you said, daily. And that's the power of really great marketing, is it works for you so you can do other things, right? Marketing is not always you having to do something right there in the moment. But it's about consistency, right? There's a whole bunch of other things that you put in place and that we worked on and that, good marketers will do. And a lot of people view it as I have to do my marketing today. Whereas I view it as well, how do you show up for your people today? What help, what support can you give to your community today that needs to hear it? One of your lead magnets, we were rehashing the greatest hits, right? And you said, I remember when this happened, that one of your lead magnets connected with the right person at the right time with the right messaging, which is the goal of marketing. And within 7 days of finding out who you were, she signed a $3,000 package. Now,
Hmm.
imagine how much easier that sales conversation was if she knew from the marketing she liked you. And that's the difference between sales and marketing. Sales is closing the sale.
Yeah.
Marketing is leading them up to be ready for the sales.
Exactly. She was, and yeah, it was a fascinating, it is a fascinating case study of moving somebody from marketing to sales very quickly. It was not a typical thing that happened all the time, but it's the power of showing that when you have the right stuff out there, showing who you are, and then when you respond in kind, because that's what happened was she reached out to me through the marketing, signed up for a thing, responded to some of the emails that came from that, and then we had a conversation. By the end of the conversation, she was like,
Yep. Ready?
I'm ready to go. Let's go. And I sent her the link and she did a pay in full um, right from the get-go. So it wasn't just $3,000 contract. $3,000 was in my bank account, right? And I want to point out to people that that came from having the right stuff out there that really showed who I am, what I know, and the results that I offer for my clients. And then she was able to more than make that money back in the time that we worked together. So was very worth it for both of us. It was, it helped create this win-win situation where we were able to help each other out. So And so what are you working on now? What is it that you're working with entrepreneurs now to help them in the world of copy? Because as you mentioned, AI has become a thing. So how is it that you are like either incorporating it or like what's Kimberly up to now?
Great question. Yeah. I mean, AI is a thing. It's not going anywhere. It's not going away.
Hmm.
And I want to put that out there for any, if you're listening right now, it doesn't matter if it's been a day or if it's been a year, AI is still here.
Hmm.
And it's a mistake to ignore it.
Yeah.
So I remember when ChatGPT premiered. It was in November of 2022.
Yeah.
And I held a workshop, which you've been to these workshops many, many times.
Yep.
And the workshop, it was all about how to write copy. And somebody turned to ChatGPT and they're like, there's this great new tool. And they were taking my trainings and feeding it into the robot and being like, here's my copy. Isn't it great? And I was like, well, it's grammatically correct. That was the nicest thing I could say about it.
Yeah.
Um, but it has gotten better, yes. So AI has actually sped up the process of marketing. It's also made it a lot more accessible for people. So you don't need to get, 10 years of experience to understand what you want, but you do have to use it in a way that's going to amplify you and not replace you and not erase you. I
Right.
find a lot of people right now are letting AI completely erase their voice. And so we
Mm.
talked the beginning of this conversation about how important it is for you to be in your marketing. And a lot of people are abdicating. They're like, AI can do it better. It's better than anything I could create.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to have it do it. And then, like, you are not in your marketing, right? You're missing. And if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're a service provider, the reason why people are going to hire you over someone else is because of you. Like, at the end of the day, they want someone they feel they can trust. So, removing yourself from your own marketing is a huge mistake. So I have two focuses right now, right? One is I work with people who have marketing that has stopped working, and I partner up with them to help them figure out what needs to be tweaked, what to change, because marketing is a constantly let's test it game.
Yeah.
And people forget that. They're like, I want to do one and done. We've all been sold this myth and like, you're one funnel away. And once you get it dialed in, then guess what? You never have to touch your marketing again. And I'm like, the thing I sell right now is so different than what I was selling 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Partially because AI is a thing. Like
Right.
if I set my marketing and never touched it again, guess what? I wouldn't be selling anything because I don't even make that offer anymore, right?
Yeah.
So set it and forget it doesn't work. You have to be constantly updating, but it's easier now to be a constant updater of your marketing and to test what is and isn't working. So I work with people and I partner with them to fix their funnels essentially to make what they're already doing work harder for them. So like if you're already on podcasts, for example, let's make it work harder for you. If you're already creating lead magnets, let's make them work harder for you. And then I also, of course, I do copy for people, right? So I write their emails, I write their funnels, I create their entire lead gen funnels, and AI has made it easier for me to do that in a way that's faster for people. Because one of the big complaints for a lot of people was, well, it just takes too long. I don't want to wait, right? And
Right.
I'm like, well, do you want to do it yourself? And the answer, of course, was no. Um,
Right.
because they don't have the time. Yeah, those are the two focuses I really have right now is I partner with people to get them past $250,000 with making their marketing work better for them. And then those who are like, yeah, I don't have the time or I don't want to be as involved or I want to do some of it, but I don't want to do all of it. I write their copy. So that's kind of the two focuses that I have.
Yeah. And I think it's good to have that personal touch to having somebody do it for you if you are someone who does not have the time capacity to even go to AI to help you figure it out. Because I think, we've already probably beat the AI horse to death in terms of, if you don't train it properly, if you don't utilize it properly, it doesn't actually really help you in the end get the right people to your doorstep to have the conversation. So I love that that's what you're doing, and especially on the fixing the funnel piece, because you're absolutely right. Yes, there are certainly pieces of my funnel. For example, the one that right now is doing very, very well is one that I've been able to set and forget for about 10 months now. I started doing it I beta tested it about a year ago, actually 1 year ago right now at the time of this
Hey.
recording. Um, but when it finally went live for everybody else was at the beginning of 2025. And it was something that, yeah, it has it is continuing right now to get me leads. People are hopping onto my list all the time because they want access to this particular gift. And so it's been very, very helpful in that aspect because now it gives me more people to have conversations with to say, hey, if that's something that you want help with, how can we take the next step together? What's the next thing we can do together? Right? It's very, very helpful. But I know that, for example, the no product puking pitch mini course that I put out there 4 years ago needs tweaking. It needs updating because guess what? I had somebody message me the other day. They're like, hey, I just watched that and you mentioned something in there that I can't find. It's not in the app store anymore. And I'm like, oops.
Well, and I want to point something else about your story. You said you put it in beta a year ago, and then you put it live 4 months later.
Yeah.
So you did testing, right?
Yes.
And like most people don't think about that part. They're just like, I'm going to publish it and it's going to amazingly work. And it's been 10 months, and I'm sure you check in on it occasionally. And at some point, you'll probably be like, okay, now I want to update it again,
Yeah.
right? So, and to be clear, I use AI. I use AI daily.
Yeah.
There's so many things it does for me that I can work with it on, and it's not just writing copy, right? There's so many different things that you can do well beyond that that people aren't truly utilizing it to its full potential. But I know what good looks like because I've been
Yeah.
doing this for over 10 years. So there is that piece of it as well. And I just find that even a little bit of training goes a long way in terms of how do I train this tool to become a tool in my toolbox, right? My favorite analogy for AI now is calculators, right? AI is not a strategy, it's a tool.
Hmm.
And think about it. When you first got your Texas Instrument, fancy pants calculator for math class, you're like, I don't even know what buttons to push.
Yeah.
And then you got a formula, but if you put the wrong numbers in the formula, you got the wrong answer. If you don't know what formula to use, you also got the wrong answer. And AI is the same. You have to know what tool, what numbers to put in, but you also have to know what formula to use to make it a tool that supports
Yeah.
you instead of destroys you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's very helpful for all of that. So now, one of the things that so first of all, for anybody who's interested in learning more about you, in addition to going into the What You Need to Grow podcast community on Facebook to see the training that we're about to put out there for everybody, how is it that they can reach out to you if they want to know more about what working with you looks like?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways. You can always connect with me on LinkedIn. And all of these links will be below in the show notes, I
Yep.
believe. You can always connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to know more about, how to use AI for coaches, right? How to do that. I have a guide on, 5 smart ways to use AI to generate more revenue and save you time. That's not just, hey, AI, write me an email.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you can always email me at contact@replies.theaudienceconverter.com. And my website, of course, is go.theaudienceconverter.com, which is also got a whole bunch of my own lead magnets, right, that you can explore and find the right one for you. But yeah, email is great. I'm on LinkedIn, and let me know that you came from Jennie's awesome, fantastic community and podcast because I love knowing where people are coming from so that I can
Yeah.
double down and use that more in my own marketing, right? Because I walk the walk and talk the talk.
Absolutely. And for anybody who's like, "Wait, I didn't catch how," guys, just reach out to me. I can get you in
Yes,
touch with Kimberly. That's easy
absolutely.
enough to do. Because she is someone that I absolutely would not have on the show if I didn't believe in her. What she does works. I've seen her be the copywriter for some really big names that I'm personally connected to, and she has helped them fill programs with her copy. Her copy works. It just does. And the fact that she can actually help somebody to the point where she has helped me personally grow my list from when I first started working with her, I had a list of zero, y'all. Zero on my list. And then I ended up growing and, I've pared it back. I've done whatever, da, da, da. I'm now over 1,500 on my list. And it's fantastic because these are people who want to hear from me. And that's all been because of Kimberly. So please check the show notes. So for those of you who are new to podcasting or you're new to the What You Need to Grow podcast, all you have to do to find the show notes is grab your phone, as long as you're not driving, click on today's episode, scroll underneath, and there you will see the show notes or episode notes where you can connect directly with Kimberly. But as you also heard me tease, and then she also mentioned, I believe at some point, we are going into the What You Need to Grow podcast community to have Kimberly train one of the lead pieces, the first step that somebody needs to do and really dig into when creating their copy, some of their copy. One of the most important pieces of copy that will help you find the people who you're going to have sales conversations with later. So make sure you come join us in the What You Need to Grow podcast community so you can see Kimberly tell us what the training is all about so they can come join us.
Yeah, so I'm going to be training on my Leads on Autopilot framework. I mentioned that I used to run workshops on this, and I am again, actually. And so it is my framework that I have honed over a good 7 years, where I'm going to walk your community through really quickly my 5-step process. It's called Leads on Autopilot, and it's how to put your leads on autopilot. It's essentially how to create your overall marketing strategy, the steps you need to go through to create really powerful copy, but also how to create one of the most important pieces of your marketing, which is how to move them off of social, off of the wilds of the internet, and into your list where you have permission to talk to them, which is what Jennie was talking about. So essentially, we're going to walk through the process for making sure that you've determined the right topic for what we call a lead magnet. And that is how you get people to say, "Ooh, I want that. I'm willing to get on your list so that you can keep talking to me so I can have it." So that's what we're going to be talking about.
I cannot wait because this is something that I've seen multiple times, guys. And every time, I go into whatever workshops, I've told the story many times. I go into her workshop. I've been through the workshop. I'm like, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do this. And then I go through this 5-step process. And by the end, I'm like, nope, my audience needs this. It works every time. And it's helped me create some really amazing gifts for my audience. And so, guys, if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, what can I create that will help my audience want to connect with me? This is one that you do not want to miss. So make sure you hop into the What You Need to Grow podcast community on Facebook. It's absolutely free. Come on in. And then that way you can ask your questions right there in the video with Kimberly. So thank you again, Kimberly, for being here for the episode. For those who aren't going to come check out the training because they're like, I'm good. I already know everything there is to know about lead magnets and gifts for audience members. I don't need that. Awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. It's working. But for the rest of you who are like, nope, I need help with that, come join us in the community. So thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you, Jennie.
Absolutely. And of course, you guys know, stay tuned because you never know what you might need to grow.
Thank you for listening to What You Need to Grow. Be sure to follow the show on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Want updates straight to your inbox? Sign up at whatyouneedtogrow.com and you'll get notified each time a new episode goes live. Here's to your growth. This has been What You Need to Grow with Jennie Bellinger.